Hello. In the previous class, we have talked about one of the important process, that is carbon-carbon bond double bond by olefin metathesis reaction. Today, we are going to talk about two important reaction, that is a hydrosylation of alkene and alkene oligomerization. Alkene or alkyne oligomerization. So these are the two important types of reaction which we are going to talk about today. So again, it is going to be carbon-carbon double bond activation. Okay, we are going to talk about it. So first let us talk about a hydrosylation of olefin. It is called as a spare catalytic process, or it is called as the catalyst used in this system is called a spare catalyst, spares catalyst. So it is a spares catalytic process which is used for the hydrosylation of olefin. From the name itself, we can understand that it is addition of silane. That is, a silane means R3SiH. That is, R is a methyl, ethyl, or any alkyl groups. R3Si hydrogen bond across the carbon-carbon double bond. It is called as a hydrosylation process. So what you will get it, you will get a silicon containing monomer. So the resulting product will be silicon containing monomer, which is used as a silicon rubber. So it is one of the important process in the industrial aspect, in the application aspect. As I said that the catalyst used is a Spears catalyst. So the Spears catalyst is nothing but chloroplatinic acid. The chloroplatinic acid is the Spear catalyst used for this process, and the catalyst is extremely active. Even the zero point 0.1 ppm level is sufficient for the catalytic reaction. However, the reaction take some time to begin. That is what is called as an induction period. For example, any catalytic process, it needs some time to initiate the reaction. The reaction need to initiate. So that is what is called as an induction period. So it is a time to initiate the catalytic reaction. That is what is called as induction period. So the hydrosylation of process takes some time for the before it begins. So that is why it's called as it takes some induction period is there. So this induction period is mostly due to the reduction of this platinum 4, that is a chloroplatinic acid, in which that is chloroplatinic acid is a H2PtCl6. So where the platinum in +4 oxidation state, it convert into platinum 2 or even the platinum 0 as a platinum 0 fine colloidal particles is going to form. So that platinum 0 colloidal particle formed is considered as the active form of the Spears catalyst, and so if you see that it is a basically heterogeneous catalyst. Although your starting component is a chloroplatinic acid is a solution, but then the active species of platinum 0, it is a heterogeneous catalyst. Often there are variety of homogeneous catalysts also explored, like cobalt carbonyl, nickel cyclooctadiene complex, nickel phosphine chlorophospine complex, rhodium chlorophospine complex. These are the some of the catalysts also, homogeneous catalysts also used. And the reaction is proceed via, like it is in an anti-Markovnik fashion. That means the silyl functionality introduced into the hydrocarbons having the more carbon hydrogen centers. So this is how the reaction is proceed, and often the product is a linear silylated product. This is what we are going to get it. And besides the hydrosylation into the olefin-olefin double bond, it can also occur on the olefin oxygen, that is carbon oxygen, carbon nitrogen, nitrogen nitrogen, oxygen nitrogen, also can be hydrosylated. Besides, it can also hydrosylated various functional group like OH, NH2, COH also, it can proceed. The reaction can proceed with that. Here the mechanism aspect, as we said that the starting component is a chloroplatinic acid, that is a H2PtCl6. In presence of silane, the platinum going to form the platinum 0 colloidal particles. So once the platinum 0 colloidal particle is formed, it react with the hydrosilane and forming the bridging complex, like this kind of bridging complex will form. Then the olefin insertion proceed. So once the olefin insertion proceed, that is a metal alkene bicomplex will form, then followed by migratory insertion of the olefin into metal hydrogen bond, that is, so it form the metal alkyl with the silyl moiety. Then reductive elimination lead to the formation of hydrosylated product and then regeneration of colloidal platinum. So this cycle is going to be continue. In this case, sometime we also evident there is a vinyl product, vinyl silane product also. So this small vinyl product is formed because of the following process. So as we mentioned that first metal will be silylated, that is a metal induced metal silicon bond formation will be going to happen, then olefin insertion. Then what will happen, instead of migrated insertion of olefin into the metal hydrogen bond, it is going to insert into the metal silicon bond. So because of the metal silicon bond insertion, this will be proceed to give the either the product, or it also facilitated the beta elimination, and it can give the vinyl silylated product, the byproduct, which is very less. The most common product is this one. Here the step is here. See, we can see that here it is a metal alkyl bond is forming, whereas in this case there is a metal hydride is remain same, whereas the silane is going to migrate first. So when the silane is migrated first, there is a small feasibility of beta elimination and forming the vinyl silane product. So these are the basic mechanism. This is the basic mechanism, but then formation of vinyl silane can be explained with the following mechanism. So the reaction also, as I said, that they can proceed with a lot of homogeneous catalyst. Then important thing is, when they proceed with the homogeneous catalyst, often there is a dehydrogenative coupling, that is a removal of hydrogen also can occur. So when there is a dehydrogenative coupling is occur, then what will happen, there is a formation of silicon-silicon bond formation is occur. Although this is not related to hydrosilylation, but this kind of hydrosilylation catalyst also can be used for the SiSi bond formation by the dehydrogenative coupling reactions. So this dehydrogenative coupling is predominant using this kind of more silicon having the more hydrogen bond rather than more alkyl bond. So this will be more predominant proceed for the silicon-silicon coupling reaction. The best catalyst for the silicon-silicon coupling reaction is the organopolysilane formation by Cp and Cp star zirconium complex, as well as some of the zirconium derivative. So here is the cyclopentadiene, that is you can see that bend hydrate, metal hydrate complex. This is the catalyst. So we are adding the hydrosilane. So once we have hydrosilane, it form the like a butane type, cyclobutane type derivative will form with the metal coordination with the silicon and hydrogen, and then this is what dehydrogenation. This dehydrogenation facilitate metal silicon bond formation will occur. Then the subsequently addition of the another silane moiety lead to the another kind of like a cyclobutane type derivative will form. Then the final step, this silicon-silicon bond formation lead to the product, that is a coupled product, as well as regeneration of catalyst going to occur. So this is not a hydrosilylation process, but this kind of hydrosilylation catalyst can also used for the silicon-silicon bond formation by the dehydrogenative coupling reaction. It is also another important reaction. So in the both cases, spare process as well as dehydrogenative coupling reaction, the main process is important aspect is metal induced silicon hydrogen bond activation. So here you can also see that the silicon hydrogen bond is activated in both cases, spare catalyst as well as here also. So that is a major step in this reaction. And as I mentioned, this hydrosilylation can also occur through various functional group like alcohol. We can get to the siloxy bonds. So you can see that alcohol, acetic acid, and acetamide, and then acetone, that is carbon double bond activation, all will lead to the different kind of, that is siloxane bond can be formed. So here it is actually SiO. There is Si is missing, so it is SiO. So siloxane bond formation can be occurs. So this is about what is called as a hydrosilylation process. Then next we'll talk about a oligomerization reaction. So another important class of organometallic reaction is what we call using the organometallic catalyst is it is a olefin or alkene either polymerization or oligomerization. So we will talk about more detail about polymerization in the next class. So the present class we will be going to talk about a oligomerization reaction. So again, this reaction is a carbon-carbon coupling reaction of alkene or alkane. So this coupling reaction, when repeated several times, then it can give cyclic or oligomeric or polymeric species. So that is what is called as a oligomerization. When it gives oligomeric product or cyclic product, then it's called as a oligomeric process. So the oligomerization involve the carbon-carbon coupling, and it's going to be repeated for several times, give the cyclic and oligomeric product. And when it's give the lot of product, chain is going to increases, then you are going to get a polymeric product. Okay, and important step common to all these kind of reaction like dimerization, oligomerization and polymerization is it is a insertion of eta 2 alkene into metal carbon bond, that is metal carbon sigma bond. That is a say migratory insertion of alkene into the metal carbon alkyl bond. That is an important step in the all this kind of reaction, either dimerization or oligomerization or polymerization, whatever you talk about. And the decisive step is the that is a competitive reaction between the chain growth and chain termination, because how much dimer or oligomer or polymer is going to form, it is depends upon the what extent it is going to be chain growth or when it is going to be terminated by the beta elimination. This is what going to determine the nature of the product. It depends upon the alkene, it depends upon the substitution of the alkene, it depends upon the catalyst, it depends upon the spectator ligand also. So in the broad range of intermediate as well as product can be obtained by tuning the nature of the catalyst, nature of the substrate, nature of the substitution, nature of the ligands. That's what we can get it using this catalyst. And initial this oligomerization process has been carried out by the what is called as a Sharp process, which is a Sharp process produce medium sized hydrocarbons or alkenes in the range of C8 to C18 range. We can produce from the ethylene. So again, this reaction is proceeded by the what we call as a isomerization, oligomerization, and alkene metathesis process. It's a kind of combination process, but we are focused only about a oligomerization reaction. So these reactions normally ethane oligomerization in butanediol it is going to carry out. Butanediol is a polar solvent using nickel based catalyst. Often this oligomerization carried out using the nickel based catalyst. So in this process, the catalyst nickel based catalyst is soluble in the polar solvent like butanediol, whereas the product whatever we obtain, that polymer or oligomer, which is not soluble in that polar solvent. So you are going to get in the end of the process you are going to get a two liquid phase, so one can easily isolate because you have the polar phases which contain the catalyst and you have the non-polar product, so you can easily isolate and we can easily separate out. So this is the first example for the liquid bibasic catalytic process. And the reaction actual catalyst is a nickel hydrate catalyst, which is in situ formed from the nickel alkyl or aryl complex or nickel alkene complex, which we'll be talking about later. And another important aspect is when they use this process, when they use a hexane as a solvent like non-polar solvent, then what will happen, they are going to get a high molecular weight polyethylene. Since the reaction is not stopped with oligomeric and it will end up with the polyethylene, they could be able to get it. On the other hand, if they use a phosphine as a ligand, addition of phosphine ligand, if they introduce, then what will happen, some of the coordinating side of the metal is going to be coordinated to phosphine, which is bulky. So the oligomerization is going to be stopped or it's controlled, and rather it's going to give the dimeric product like 1-butene in the case of ethylene. So these are the some of the factors which control the product selectivity. And here the mechanism aspect. So this is a catalyst which we generally, there are different types of nickel catalysts are used, like in nickel COD, that is cyclooctadiene, or nickel butadiene complex or nickel allyl complex. These are the some of the complex has been used. Here the another one example is in the SOP process. It is a SOP process where the nickel complex, which is a initial step, is the cyclooctadiene is going to be removed from this and then forming the that is metal alkyl, which will convert into metal hydride. This is what I said, the active species will be metal hydride. The metal hydride in which olefin is going to insert it, that is a metal alkene complex. Then the migrated insertion of metal alkene into metal hydride and form the metal alkyl complex. So then once the metal alkyl complex, this is what I told, that there's one of the important steps, the metal alkyl to the polymer or oligomer is going to proceed depends upon the when it is going to be beta elimination going to proceed. So once the beta elimination proceed, then you will get a alpha olefin. So this n number of olefin is going to inserted. That is what an important step. The important step of oligomerization or polymerization is the olefin insertion, migrated insertion of olefin to the metal alkyl bond. Here is you can see the metal alkyl bond. So in the metal alkyl bond, olefin is inserted. So the subsequent, every subsequent insertion, the chain length of the polymer is or oligomer is going to increases. Then you will get a product. When it's beta elimination is going to occur, you are getting a alpha olefin as a product. Whereas, as I said, in the presence of phosphine, so when there is a, when you introduce a phosphine during the reaction, then what will happen? The phosphine is going to coordinate with the metal center. So because of the bulkiness, it lead to the beta elimination and produce the product. So when you introduce in the beginning, then you will end up with what I call as a dimeric product. Ethylene will be converted into dimer, and you will get a dimeric product of butene. So another important reactions using the propane dimerization, it gives the hexene. So in particularly it gives a branched hexene, like this kind of branched hexene is there. So which is important additive in the petrol, because the branched hexenes are one of the potential for the on-denocking agent. On-denocking means its ability to ignite under the pressure. That is what on-denocking means. It is a petroleum property. We will talk this about in the later stage. So this kind of hexene, that branched cyclohexene, when it hydrogenated, you will get a branched alkenes, which are important in the petroleum industries, in the petrol. So that there is another important process using the oligomerization catalyst has been prepared. Then most important thing is that, like cyclization of alkane by RAPI process by the company called BASF. They use a nickel cyano complex in presence of calcium carbide and THF. So when they use acetylene, they could end up with the cyclooctatetrene. Whereas when they use a monosubstituted alkane, then what they get is a tetrasubstituted cyclooctatetrene. That is what they got it. But when there is a disubstituted, then because of the stericness, there is no reactive. Whereas when they use again the phosphine as a ligand, when they use phosphine, when they introduce 1:1 with respect to nickel, when they introduce, what will happen? Phosphine first block the active sites, then it gives only benzene as the product. So it is once again this reaction one can tune with respect to what you call it is acetylene. I have by mistake, it is ethylene, it is mentioned, it's acetylene cyclization. So it depends upon the nature of the your active sites as well as nature of the ligands. It is going to control the product. Then another important oligomerization process, cyclotrimerization of butadiene. So when the butadiene is cyclotrimerization, then what you will get it? You will get a cyclododecatriene, which is important oligomerization reaction using the nickel-based catalyst, because it's a derivative. When it's oxidized, the product when it's oxidized, it will give the lot of importance in the polymerization industry. So the cyclotrimerization of butadiene has been carried out using the again nickel-based catalyst. So the basically nickel allyl eta3 allyl complex is the major complex. Then reaction proceed via the what we call as a 16 electron complex. So here is the mechanism. So as I said that nickel allyl complex. So when the nickel allyl complex is a starting component where the nickel in zero oxidation state. So in presence of butadiene, it form the what is called as a nickel butadiene complex. Bis butadiene complex, you will get it. Then subsequent addition of butadiene, what will happen? The butadiene is going to form the dimeric complex of nickel allyl, and then olefin is going to coordinate and form the butadiene, have the olefinic coordination as well as allylic complex. So where the nickel will be 0 to plus 2 oxidation state, and then here is the number of coordination center will be 4, and here it will be 3. It is going to be 3, and then this will be again the oligomerization proceed, and then forming the kind of like cyclooctatetrene that is cyclododeca triene is going to form with the kind of naked nickel, where the nickel in plus 0 oxidation state and it form with the naked nickel complex will form. Then presence of butadiene, nickel butadiene complex will be regenerated, and what you will get it, you will get a 1,5,9 cyclododeca triene as a product, you will get it. So the reaction proceed by the change in coordination number of nickel. As I said, the nickel will be plus 3 and 4 coordination sites, and oxidation state vary from 0 and 2. It is the how the reaction has been proceed, and this product can be converted into corresponding carboxylate, which is intermediate for the, as I said, then polymer nylon 12 intermediate. And again, the use of phosphine ligand, what is going to happen is the use of phosphine ligand facilitated the dimerized product, that is a cyclooctadiene is going to form. So these are the main properties of the oligomerization reactions. So in the next class we'll talk about what is called as a olefin polymerization reaction. So one of the most important process in the organometallic catalyst, which we'll discuss in the next class. So you go through it again. Uh, all the materials I have followed from the Christoph Eisenbruch's, that is organometallic by Christoph Eisenbruch or Elias. So you can follow any of this book. So once again, thank you for listening. Thank you.